Well, the Ferrari has frame damage, and unfortunately, Ferrari won't sell me anything. Now, any parts related to the structural integrity of a Ferrari will only be sold by Ferrari to Ferrari service centers. Guys like me, I'm out of luck. I'm a has-been. I'm a wannabe. Ferrari doesn't want guys in Utah working in their garage with Harbor Freight tools working on their cars. They don't want that, so they won't sell many parts.
Now, when the Ferrari crashed into the Kia, it caused some serious wreckage. The frame on this car is mangled beyond repair. The upper frame rail is dented and contorted and twisted. It has multiple holes in it. The lower frame rail is also dented. It's an aluminum frame, so I can't repair this. I gotta replace these frame rails. The frame rails are cheap too. The upper frame rail is like $390. The lower frame rail is $620. The parts are available, but I can't buy them. I am not ASM authorized with an S. What ASM stands for, I have not the slightest idea, but how am I gonna get the parts I need? How am I gonna fix this car?
And the question I stated there is really the primary focus of my life right now. How am I gonna fix this car when Ferrari won't sell me the parts I need? Now, getting the upper and lower frame rail, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I just gotta assess it. We gotta pull this oil tank here. The battery's gotta go. This reservoir's gotta go. My big objective today is to figure out, do we gotta pull the motor to repair the frame? Now, I have a Benpack 2-post lift that should be arriving during this video. So while we're filming here, it should be installed in that garage. Once that happens, we can lift the Ferrari up, we can drain the motor oil, we can remove that oil tank, but we really can't do that until that happens. So we're gonna focus on the interior. We need to remove the dashboard, the driver's seat, and the steering wheel. Now, unfortunately, this dashboard, we're gonna have to replace it. Having the windshield out of the way is an absolute game changer. My goal is to remove as little as possible, and of course, not to break anything. Easy. Perfect. Now, I keep running into a very specific issue time and time and again while working on this Ferrari 12, and the issue is I don't have the right tools and we have to go get the tools. But I feel like in time, as I buy more tools, this issue will go away, theoretically. The garage is so full right now. We have not had this many cars in here in such a long time. You're never gonna guess what tool we're on the hunt for. The 10mm Allen wrench, imagine that. I have the 8, I got the 9, the 11, the 12, the 14, and I don't have the 10. This little Lotus is so much fun to drive. That supercharger whine, smooth as butter, baby. I can almost guarantee with absolute certainty, I will be here 17 more times this week. The landscaping is looking absolutely amazing. I have my very own cherry blossom trees. The grass is starting to come in, and if you follow me on Snapchat, I just bought an EV lawnmower. I realize that is kind of sort of a disgrace, but yes, an EV lawnmower, and actually worked pretty well. It seems like no matter what, it's always the 10 mil. I called it an Allen bit. It's a hex bit. I think that's the exact same thing, but you guys let me know in the comments below. We can use this tool to remove the steering wheel on the A12, but on that bombshell, today's video has been sponsored by Cuts. Now, Cuts clothing makes my all-time favorite t-shirt. This shirt is comfortable, it is stylish, it fits perfect, it's lightweight, and it is breathable, and you're gonna love it as well. And using my code STRADMAN, you can actually get 20% off your entire order at cutsclothing.com. The weather is finally starting to get nice. There's no better time than right now to update your wardrobe, and Cuts has everything. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got joggers, they got pants, they got shorts as well. My girlfriend Sophia, she picked out this outfit for me. She loves how it looks on me. She loves how it feels. Your girlfriend or wife is gonna love how Cuts looks on you. And they also have women's clothing and kids clothing. Check out the link in the description below to cutsclothing.com, and using my code STRADMAN, 20% off your entire order, cutsclothing.com. Next step is to remove the steering wheel. I got the 10mm Allen head there. The issue is I gotta go left, but as I go left, so does the steering wheel. So somehow I gotta use my knees to get enough leverage to somehow, oh my gosh, I'm providing a lot of stress, a lot of power, but no broken elbows. I'm probably gonna have to replace this bolt. You can see I kind of sort of chewed up the head of it ever so slightly. I just had to provide so much force to get this thing off, maybe, yes.
I guess the next step is to remove these carbon fiber paddles. I don't actually know what I'm doing, by the way. I have no instruction manual.
Oh, we got it.
And I don't work on Ferraris, but so far so good. I haven't broken anything whatsoever. We're just going based off what I think is next. I see a bolt, I undo the bolt. If I'm right, I move on. If I'm wrong, I put the bolt back in place. Pretty much sums it up.
I'm definitely getting myself into quite the predicament if I cannot put this thing back together someday. This is one of the cooler pieces we've removed, obviously the instrument cluster. Now a lot of the A12s will actually have a different color tachometer. The black is kind of a little boring. We could go yellow, we could go red, we could go white. What do you guys think? Should we swap that out? First mod, maybe? I am trying to crank as fast as I can right now, but every single step along the way takes so much longer than you anticipate. Obviously, the goal is to remove as little as possible. There will definitely be things we remove that we didn't need to remove, but it's kind of just part of the game. I was really hoping I could remove just the black section of the dashboard, but unfortunately, to remove some bolts here, this carbon piece has to come off. For this to come off, this red piece has to come off, and for that piece to come off, that piece has to come off.
Now, most of the trim pieces are held on by clips and Torx bits. There's been 2 random Phillips head screws. Not sure why. As I tear apart this dashboard, I have to be very focused to remember every single step along the way, because when I have to reverse engineer this after I get the new dashboard, I'm gonna have to put this all back together. That is gonna be 100 times harder than tearing it apart.
That took way longer than I want to admit. Whew. There's like these plastic tray liners here and here, this little Alcantara tub thing that was clipped on with 4 clips. We got 4 bolts there, 2 bolts here, and 4 bolts here. I'm not 100% certain, but there's gotta be another bolt under here. This is perfect. And we got 2 more bolts right here. If my calculations are correct, and it looks like they are, this whole piece is gonna pop right off. There should be a lot of wiring harnesses. We're gonna try to not disconnect anything though.
I definitely should have disconnected those wiring harnesses, because now the center console's in my way. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm gonna disconnect them, don't worry about it. Laziness is the worst killer of every young man's dream. Do not be lazy like me, okay guys? No more laziness.
How you doing?
Pretty well. I got the body with me.
We can do today. I can make today happen.
That's the lift, bud.
So we're getting the lift installed right now. I gotta get this car out of here.
Well, now I really gotta hustle, because the guys that are installing my bin pack are gonna be here in an hour. I gotta get the dashboard out of this car. I gotta get the car up on casters so I can roll it out of the garage. I can't turn on the car. I can't steer the car. And these wiring harnesses are the biggest disaster ever. If I break one of these clips, and they're all different, they're all fragile. If I break one though, electrical is my arch nemesis. I cannot repair this, so I gotta go fast, but I can't go too fast because I don't wanna break anything. But we gotta hustle.
We did it! I'm not gonna say it was easy or it was smooth, but one dashboard has been removed from an A12 Superfast.
And of course, 17 seconds later, the guys are here to install the bin pack lift. Super helpful. They're helping me get the car up on the casters. Casters is a love-hate relationship, but it's one of the only ways to accomplish what I need to accomplish, getting the Ferrari from one garage to the other garage. I'm very nervous these wheels are gonna snap, but it seems like we're good. And of course, my camera battery dies. The security camera comes in clutch. Now the ceilings in the smaller garage are right around 11.5 feet. So the Grand Prix lift is one of the at-home lifts. It's not quite as tall as their industrial lifts, but for what I need, it is the perfect bin pack setup.
Well, easy enough. The garage transformation is slowly starting to come together. Shout out to Ernesto and his team for installing the bin pack 2-post Grand Prix lift. Now, unfortunately, there's no power quite yet, so it's not fully functional. The power is going to arrive in a couple days, and then we can use it. So that does mean the Ferrari is not getting up in the air today. So I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Now, the reason I put the 2-post lift in this garage and not that big garage, the big garage is more like a clean environment, like a showroom. This garage, I can do oil changes, I can make a mess, I can have parts scattered everywhere. Now, I do need to improve the lighting in this garage and reduce the echo, so it's still a work in progress. Well, we're gonna change topics very quickly because the Ferrari A12 rebuild, there's not like a lot we can do now until the lift is functional. So we're gonna go from the crash Ferrari to the Lamborghini Revuelto, and what I'm gonna say very quickly, and then I'll explain myself. I have canceled my Lamborghini Revuelto. Let me explain. Now, if you're unfamiliar, the Lamborghini Revuelto is the replacement of the Aventador. Now, I put down a $20,000 deposit in January of 2021, so over 3 years ago, on the upcoming V12 replacement. I didn't know what the car was gonna be called. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know anything about it. And then about a year ago, in March, April 2023, Lamborghini finally dropped the car, and it was the Revuelto. So to reiterate, Lamborghini dropped the Revuelto to the world in March of 2023. But if we backtrack to December of 2022, I was actually invited to a private Lamborghini event in New York City at the Lamborghini Lounge. I actually got to see the Revuelto before the rest of the world. And during that moment, I actually was able to spec my car. I kind of spec'd my car, and that's what I really want to try to explain. When I saw the Revuelto for the first time, I was immediately in love. You guys know Lamborghini is my favorite brand. I got 10 of their cars now. I love the Aventadors. I got an Espada. I got 2 LMs, a Murcielago. I love the history of the brand. I love everything the brand represents. When you go to a Lamborghini dealership, everybody is so nice to you. And when you go to some of the other brands, it's not quite the same. And I just love that about Lamborghini. So having an opportunity to order the brand new replacement to the Aventador V12 flagship Lamborghini, that's like childhood dream come true. So at this event in New York, I was given 2 options. I could go down the traditional route. I could custom order a Revuelto, do whatever I want, but the car would arrive in maybe 2 to 3 years. Or I could choose one of 9 Lamborghini predetermined specs. Now the predetermined specs, none of them were my dream spec. They were all pretty good, but not necessarily my favorite. But by choosing one of the predetermined specs, I would be guaranteed a slot as one of the first customer Revueltos in the world. Myself and 200 other US customers would get the first Revueltos in the world. I decided then and there that was worth it. I would choose one of Lamborghini's predetermined specs to guarantee getting a Revuelto before anybody else in the world. And of course, the spec I chose was Lamborghini Viola Pacife, aka Lamborghini Purple. Love that color, one of my all-time favorite colors, but it would not have been my first choice. My first choice was actually Lamborghini Viola Bass. That's the same color as Schmee's STO, but I love Pacife, so I was like, it's okay. Now the wheels, they were the diamond cut, not really my favorite. The interior was average. I didn't really love it. I didn't hate it. And the price on the car was gonna be $725,000. So a spec that I like, that I don't love, I gotta spend 725 grand, but I'm guaranteed one of the first Revueltos in the world, an early allocation. And I do social media, and with what I do, everything comes down to timing. Getting one of the first Revueltos in the world for what I do, that's a game changer. Now I'd imagine you probably know where this is going if you've been on social media. There are customer Revueltos being delivered across the world, except the United States. No customer cars have been delivered in the United States. And we were told in New York, we were getting the first cars, and that's why we chose the predetermined specs. And it didn't happen. And I don't know why it didn't happen. Lamborghini has not communicated anything whatsoever. I have no idea why the 200 US cars were not delivered. Now, the reason I canceled, a couple weeks ago in London, a customer Viola Bass car was delivered. That was my dream spec. That's the spec I wanted, but I went with Pacife because I was guaranteed an early allocation. And if I went Bass, it would be a couple years down the line. But now my dream spec is being delivered before my predetermined spec. And it's $725,000. I'm not even mad about it. I don't really care, to be honest. But I'm just not gonna spend $725,000 on a car that's not my dream spec. I really hope this is not me coming across as complaining or a sob story, because I'm not mad, I'm not sad, I don't even care whatsoever. I just didn't want to spend the money on a car that wasn't my dream car. And it's really as simple as that. You know, I told you guys a year ago I had ordered the Revuelto, I told you guys my spec, I told you guys delivery would be starting sometime in 2024, and I felt like I had to explain to you guys that I canceled and why I canceled. And I just remembered one more reason I canceled. Of the 200 US cars that were predetermined specs, 40% of them were gonna be exactly like mine. 40% of them were Viola Pacife. There was gonna be 80 Viola Pacife cars, all in the same specs, same wheels, same interior, same carbon, all delivered here to the United States, including 4 of my close friends, which would have been cool for one photo shoot, but long term would have been, it was an easy decision to cancel, honestly. Now, hopefully at some point I'll have another opportunity to buy a Revuelto, maybe a used one on the secondhand market in a couple years, or maybe I'll have another opportunity to spec one out, like a Roadster, an SV, or an SVJ, or whatever Lamborghini does down the line. I have a lot of regret. I shouldn't have done the predetermined. I should have spec'd out my dream one in the moment when I had the chance, but I just got caught up in it all. So I hope you guys at least understand my thought process and my rationale. I do apologize to you guys because it was never my intention to hype up this dream car delivery, having the opportunity to get one of the first ones in the world, and then canceling it, because that wasn't my goal. It is what it is. I have canceled my Revuelto. It does mean, though, that $725,000 that was tied up in that car can now go somewhere else. On that bombshell, today's video is over.